touch your nose. No, it was guys.
Okay, so we need to do a recap of what we did earlier this morning. Who can recap it for us in your own words? In your own words, what did we do this morning?
Yes, he flicked the coin and see, is it really true that 50% of the time it's going to land on head or tails, and it wasn't true.
Okay.
It's kind of based on that.
What Eric said was just so important. Who can repeat what Eric just said? Because that was really, really important, what he said. Haley, go ahead. Repeat it loud because I don't think I ever heard it.
We were testing to see if half of the times it landed on heads and half of the times it would land on tails, which it wasn't sure that it would.
Okay, so we were testing to see if half of the time it would land on heads and half of the time it would land on tails. And where did we get that half of the time? What was that half of the time? Where did we get half of the time it will land on heads, half of the time it will land on tails? Where did we get that from, Mohammed?
Because in a coin there's two sides that we count.
Okay, because in a coin there's two sides, so the probability that we would get tails, and I like how Ms. Park is writing it right now. She's writing the probability of tails, and I like how she wrote it. It's very clear to me what the probability is for, and we said it was 1 out of 2. But you said something really important. You said that that's what we expected it to be, right? That's what it should theoretically be, our best guess. But then what happened? Even though that's our best guess, what happened?
We experimented it.
We experimented it.
And what did you notice in your experiment? So we said, theoretically, what it should be is it's 1 out of 2 times, right? 50% of the time, it should land on tails, or vice versa. But then what did you notice when you actually experimented with it, Mohammed?
Well, we noticed that it's not true. It doesn't land on heads 50% of the time.
Okay, so not all the time, it's not always going to work out that way, right? And then what do you notice about, what happened when we gathered all our data from the whole entire class? What happened?
What happened, Justin?
It was around what we expected.
It was okay. So what Justin said was that it was around what we expected, but for each group, was it exactly what we expected? Who got exactly 50% of the time who would get it? So maybe 4 out of 30 people got exactly 50%. Who got more than 50%? He would eat Cocoa Blast. Who got less than 50%? Okay. So when we had these small groups, only groups of 2, did it follow the theoretical probability? No, not exactly, right? It was a little bit over, it was a little bit under. Some people got it even. But Austin said was when we combined all of the data together, that's when it got closer to what our theoretical probability. Who agrees with that?
Thumbs up, thumbs down, sideways. If this all makes sense.
Okay. All right, so theoretical, who can recap what does theoretical mean for me again? Who can just recap what that means?
Theoretical probability.
What does theoretical mean?
Theoretical means like it's a theory because it's based off of like evidence, but it's not 100% true.
Okay, it's like our best guess, right? It's what should happen.
Technically what it should be.
But it should be. It should get, Isaiah, probability 1 out of 2 is that it's going to be tails. But then when we actually did the experiment, it was different, right? It was over, it was under, it was the same. But when we had more and more data together, did it get closer to the theoretical probability?
On what it should be?
Yes. Okay, good.
All right, I want you to open up your books to the next page, which is page 10. And can I have a reader, please, for 1.2, Tossing Paper Cups? Darren, go ahead.
Cobbler wants to find something else to toss that will give him a better chance of eating his favorite cereal each morning. He wonders if a paper cup would be a good thing to toss. Because Kelvin wants to eat Cocoa Blast cereal more of the time, he needs to determine if the cup lands in one position more often than the other. If so, he will ask to toss a paper cup instead of a cloth.
Alright, so instead of using a coin like we did in the first experiment, what are we using now? What are we going to use now, Alex?
Paper cup.
We're going to actually use a cup to try to determine the probability of him eating Cocoa Blast compared to the healthy flakes. Now, what do you think? What do you think?
Let's make a prediction here.
Yeah. What prediction can you make regarding the cups?
Well, let's be clear about what we're talking about. So here I have the top, right, and the bottom, and then this is the side, and this is the side. Are we okay with that? Not if you're okay with that.
Okay, so we're going to call the top and the bottom,
The
we're going to
top-
call them ends.
And the bottom are, yeah, the end.
So if it lands on the top or the bottom, we're going to consider them the ends. And then if it's just laying on its side, that's going to be considered the side. Okay.
So what do you guys think? Who thinks that it will land, does anyone think it will be 50-50? Who thinks it will be 50-50? Okay. Who thinks that will land more on one of the ends? Okay. Who thinks it will land more on one of the sides?
Ooh.
Okay. Who's not sure?
Alright.
Okay.
So you guys are actually going to do an experiment, and you're going to actually try it 50 times. And your notebook should be open because we're going to show you exactly how to set up the table. It's going to be super quick. We're nothing detailed. It's going to be really quick.
I shouldn't draw like this.
Bridget, you're taking too much time right now.
No, that's too much, right? Okay. Just let's be clear here.
Quick lines. 1 and 2. There you go. That's all you need to do.
So we're going to do the side.
Sides, and the other side, I want you to write ends. Real quick. It should take you literally 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3.
Not a lot. You don't need a lot of space. We're going to show you how. We're going to show you how to do it. You do not need that much space. Good thing your partner's up here. Come on. Yes. Okay. So, one important thing to note here. Actually, 2 things. Number 1, like the penny, should your cup be flying all over the room? No. Do I want you to like throw it up like this and like try and catch it? No. Okay. The other thing is this. Whatever way you throw it the first time, you have to always throw it the same way.
Okay, so try to be as consistent as possible.
Yeah, what do I mean by that? If you're always going to toss it like this, then you need to do it like that. If you're going to toss it like...
If you're going to toss it like that, then always toss it like that. Okay,
Right.
try to be as consistent
Yeah, if you're
as
going to
possible.
do it like this, then you have to do it like that. If you're going to throw it this way, you always have to go from the same starting point, and you always have to kind of throw it the same way. If you're okay with that, touch your nose. Okay. Question, Shonda?
Oh yeah. So what happens if you throw it up and it keeps on landing at the same spot?
Well,
Then
that's what we have to see.
That's your experiment,
That's
right?
your
what
experiment.
we're
That's
trying.
what's going to happen. So,
So Miss Bridges and I will actually do a model of what you should do with your partner. So everybody should have this on your paper, right? So how many times does the instruction tell us to do this toss? How many times, everyone?
50
50 times. 50 tosses, right?
okay, so you're going to have to keep track of this. This isn't like the chart we gave you where it was 1 to 30, right? You're going to have to keep track of it. Let me ask you this. Has anyone ever done tally marks?
Yes.
So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Who's done this before? Raise your hand. Okay, good.
So if you do it this way, we're suggesting this way because it'll be easier to count up to 50, okay?
Okay. So, Miss Park, do you want to go?
Okay, so Miss Bridges and I are partners, so
Why don't you toss, Miss Park, and I'll be the recorder.
okay, so since I'm gonna toss, I'm gonna make sure I wanna toss it like this. Okay, so that's the side, it landed on a side, so Miss Bridges just put 1 mark on the side.
And you just concentrate on tossing. I'll put the marks and I'll keep track of how many times.
I forget, did I hold it like this? How did I just hold it like that? Like this? Okay. Up, another side. That's another 2. Up, this time it's an end, right? So how many times did we toss so far? 3 times. Okay, so I'm gonna keep going. Another side. Another side. Another side. And then note how Miss Bridges just put a slash because that's 5 slashes, right? The 5th one goes across. Thumbs up, thumbs down, sideways if you understand how you should be conducting this experiment. Question or was that a thumbs up? Oh, okay.
All right, who's good with doing this on their own now? Fabulous. Great. So, just double check. Double check and make sure you want to go only 50, right? So if you have to stop and count, that's fine. And then when you're done, you're actually going to answer the questions for A and B.
Yes, you can put your books aside. You just need to make sure you're recording.